There you have it. We had John, George, and Ringo before the news break, and there's the fourth one, Paul McCartney, and Let Me Roll It. This is on Radio 88.5, the voice of the Valley. I'm the Unicorn with you until 6 o'clock, and with me on a Zoom interview is Judy. Good afternoon, Judy.
Good afternoon, Unicorn.
There we go. Talk some more so I can turn your volume up here so we can hear you. There we go. All right, Judy, many of you will know Judy. Judy is the retro Judy. She's the blues Judy. She's the SA and indie zone Judy. And you've often heard her on the radio. But Judy does have another hat that she wears, and that is of a life coach. And today she's going to be speaking to us about how life coaching can help you through some very trying times, particularly the times that we're living in now. So first of all, Jude, explain to people life coaching and put it into context, because a lot of people think it's like counseling.
Yeah, okay. So it's not like counseling. It is similar, but quite different in that we do listen, and that's what a counselor really does as well. But the real role of a life coach is to actually help you get to where you want to be from where you are right now. So that could just be an emotion that you're feeling that you want to get rid of, or it could be that you're needing to set some goals for your future. And we do that by really asking very relevant questions. We probe a lot. We ask sometimes often very thought-provoking questions. Now, a counselor would probably do the same, but we're not giving advice. A coach is there to guide you and help you solve your own problems. I think that is the major difference there, in that we're really not there we're not counselors, we're not psychologists. We are there to guide people and help them solve their problems by asking very relevant questions.
So this is almost like a helping you to help yourself kind of scenario. You people, instead of like throwing them a fish, you're actually teaching them to fish.
Yes.
Okay, so what is the process? What do people have to do in order to? I'm sitting listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need to get from where I am to where I need to be, and how do I go about it? What's the process?
Okay, so you would approach a life coach possibly, and the life coach and you would actually start and build up a rapport. I think that's the most important thing. You've got to actually learn to trust each other and to know that you can actually work together. Some people don't gel with other people. So your choice of your life coach is very important. It's got to be someone you trust, because that life coach is actually going to take you, she's going to ask you, she or he, is going to ask you some very thought-provoking questions, and sometimes very personal questions. So you've got to actually feel comfortable with that person asking you those questions. And then the idea of life coaching is to actually listen to your answers, to feed those answers back to you, and then ask more if necessary, until we get to a point where we've actually decided, okay, this is the way you're going to move forward. This is where you want to be. This is where you are now. And this is the way you're going to want to move forward. And we have various techniques and processes that we use to help you along the way. But I think the most important thing about a life coach is, like so often, so many of us set goals or decide we want to do something. And then a week later, it kind of fizzles out. So the main role of a life coach is to help you set those steps towards that goal, that ultimate outcome, if you want to put it that way, rather, and to encourage you along the way, and to actually to hold you accountable to those steps and processes that you've set for yourself, and guide you in a very non-judgmental way. And I think that's important, is that you don't feel judged along the way, and that someone's actually going to guide you and be there. And if you're really feeling frustrated or stuck, they're actually going to be there for you. You can call them and they'll talk you through the process and help you along the way. So that's really what we do.
So you do sort of act as a conscience along the path. You kind of, you're sitting, people have decided what they're going to do. We're going to do X, Y, Z. We're going to do that. We're going to take this action. And if you slip on that, does the coach go to the person and say, well, listen, you have, in your feedback, I haven't seen you arrive at this destination or this milestone. Do you as the coach raise that? Do you wait for the person who's being coached to raise it? How does that work?
we schedule how this is going to work. We decide up front how this is going to work. So you and I decide, for instance, that by next Friday you're going to have done whatever, and by next Friday I'm going to call you and find out where you're at and how that went. So if I call you on the Friday, it's not for me to judge you if you haven't got there, but I think the main thing there is that you knowing that I'm going to be calling you on Friday will probably motivate you to do that step in time. There are going to be times when you're not going to be able to do it. There's going to be times where things have gone haywire and you just haven't got to it. I'm not going to judge you for that, but then we can refocus and maybe help you reestablish where you're going to go next.
All right. Okay.
That makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah, people generally, just the fact that you're going to get called or you're going to be at some point held accountable does tend to motivate one to want to do something. But as you say, you're not judging that. You're then helping people refocus. So let's look at the times we live in now. Is there a risk that people are in a frame of mind where they go for coaching, but they're really expecting counseling? Is that a risk?
It is a risk. And that's why I would be very upfront. If anyone called me, I would be totally upfront with that person and say, I'm not here to counsel you. I'm not here to put words into your mouth. I'm not here to put ideas into your head. I'm here to ask you questions, and I'm here to guide you along the way. I would make that very clear. Every now and then, because I am a trained counselor as well, if I feel that a person needs a little bit of guidance and counseling, I might put on my counselor hat just for a little while, but it's not the ultimate aim of coaching at all. The beauty for me, what I love most about coaching, is to actually sit with someone who has been perhaps stuck and not moving forward for a long time, or just really not aware of what relevance they have anymore, and to actually see, after a couple of sessions, to see that light come back into someone's eyes when they've actually realized, wow, that's really where I've actually been wanting to go for a while. I just couldn't see the wood for the trees. And to see that in someone's eyes, because it shows clearly in someone's eyes when they get there, when they have that breakthrough. That is my ultimate reward, I think.
I think the term that you used there, wood for the trees, that kind of sums up what it is that the coach does.
Yes.
It helps somebody who's got maybe a myriad of ideas. I mean, you don't really need to be in trouble for this. You could be looking at options from a job choice point of view, or which business to start. You don't have to be in like a crisis to be doing coaching.
No, you don't. No. And that is probably the major difference, because people go to counselors when they really, really are in crisis and they need help. But yeah, we can guide. I think for me, for instance, when I was facing retirement last year, or when I got close to retirement, it was a really scary thought for me, because I'd been in the corporate world for so long, and that was all I really knew. And suddenly I realized financially I couldn't afford to retire. And that I really could not see the wood for the trees. I did not know what I wanted to do afterwards, but I knew I had to do something. And just funny enough, through a lot of thought process, I actually came up with the idea of trying out life coaching. And once I'd actually sat down and talked to someone and talked it through, I suddenly realized that within me were a lot of resources and passions that I hadn't seen before that I could actually utilize, and that's what ending up on this path, as well as the radio, of course.
Yeah, as well as the radio. Okay, so but being in the radio was part of that process. Ending up on being on radio was part of that process, wasn't it?
Yes, but the weird thing is that while I was doing this and talking to someone, it took me weeks to finally admit that I was actually a radio presenter. For some unknown reason, I was embarrassed about that, and I didn't want to share that knowledge with them. And through working through a few issues of my own, I kind of realized what had happened there. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, it is what I do, and why should I be ashamed of it?
Mm-hmm. if somebody is sitting listening to this right now and they're saying, okay, like, I can use this kind of service, is there any preparation that a person does? What state would you expect them to come to you in, with a sort of sketch of a plan or outline of a plan or nothing? What are you expecting from the person when you first speak to them?
It really doesn't matter. I've had someone approach me who was at, I've worked with someone who absolutely had no idea of where she was going. She was completely stuck. She had no plans, no clue, and we actually managed to get her fired up and working towards a goal eventually. I've had people approach me who have had a couple of ideas and didn't really know which one they were going to follow. So through various processes, we eventually got that person to actually combine two of the processes and ditch the other one because that really wasn't going to serve them. So it really doesn't matter. There's no preparation. It's just a matter of making a call, us finding out what it is that you're hoping to achieve. I think you need to understand what it is. I did when I was doing the training and I needed to work with clients to get the experience. I did have people approaching me not knowing what a life coach did. And that was awkward because they didn't really know what they were doing there. They didn't really need my services. They just agreed to help me because they were my friend. And that was actually not the right approach at all. So yeah, it ended up with me having to find other clients over and above them because that was really not going to help. You need to understand what a life coach is going to do for you. And so you need to understand that you need to work with someone like me and then approach me and have a vague idea of what it is you're wanting to achieve, but you don't have to have a plan in mind at all. We can actually work through that.
I mean, we've spoken about people who may be in crisis, we've spoken about people who may have an idea, but you've also worked with some very successful people in the financial services sector. They're really already successful, but they wanted to go to another level. That's also something that a life coach can do.
Yes, correct. In the financial services, if you've been in that industry for a long time, it's very regulated now, and a lot has changed. And some of those people I have known for very many years, and they had actually lost focus of what their goals were going to be. They knew that they were very successful. They knew that they were earning enough money. So money wasn't the goal at all. It was a matter of me working with them and helping them find passion elsewhere as well, and not just focusing on work, because ultimately, if you work in a corporate, that is often a danger. Is that becomes your be all and your end all in your life, and you end up being really unhappy. You really do, because your work cannot be 99% of your day. It just cannot be. You can't be happy that way.
Okay, but it can be family goals, it can be sports goals, it can be, it doesn't necessarily, I want to get away from the misconception that life coaching is for somebody who's in some kind of a crisis, and that therefore it's easy to confuse it for counseling and then be disappointed when you go to the coach and it's not what you expect. So it can be for just about anything. It
can.
Okay, and there are a lot of life coaches, and you're saying that the best way to deal with this is to find the right match. So do your homework, basically.
Correct, yeah. Speak to a couple, whoever you gel with, because it's important that you have that rapport with someone. And so whoever you gel with, whoever you feel you can trust, because you really have to trust that person to be along by your side throughout that whole process.
All right, so that's the process of coaching. We mentioned in the intro that we're going to be talking about things that people can do, any tips that you can give people to deal with the current situation that we're in. And that is probably extreme to some people and certainly new to a whole lot. A lot of people are facing things at the moment that they would not ordinarily have faced. And you have some sort of pointers that people can make use of.
I do, and I hope they're going to be helpful, because they've certainly helped me, and I can honestly say I follow these processes. I have been very quiet on this subject for a reason, and that is because I've been working through my own process. And I think that the major thing that people are actually facing right now is emotions that you might not be used to having. There's absolute fear. There's anxiety about your future. There's even anger. I've found a lot of people are very angry right now. So I think it's important that we try and find that silver lining in something, and we try and focus on a future, and we don't lose hope. That is the ultimate goal for me, is to not lose hope, because it's so easy to get bogged down in all the negative social media, the negative side of this pandemic. But if you really sit down and think about it, there are so many ways and so many positive things that one can do to get you out of it. I think most important is that you must not, if your business is struggling, if you are struggling financially, to not see yourself as a failure. That is so important. It's not your fault. None of this has been your fault. And we tend to blame ourselves, and we tend to shy away. And I listened to Paul on the Money Zone the other day, and he actually alluded to this as well. Don't be afraid to go and ask for help, because you actually do need to ask for that help, because none of this is your fault. Don't be ashamed. So if you're sitting at home and you can't go to work, there are a couple of things you can do. You can use your time really, really wisely, and that will help you not dwell into those huge negative and angry emotions that you're going through at the moment. So, for instance, if there's something you've always wanted to learn about, like photography or bookkeeping, there's so many courses you can do through Udemy. They're offering really reduced rates at the moment. And if you can't afford to pay for anything at the moment and you have access to the internet, there's Google. You can learn so much on Google. So spend some time upskilling yourself into getting a bit more knowledge into something that really interests you. Not something that you're afraid of, something that interests you. So move your thoughts from fear to interest, and then follow that goal, and just find something to do there. Decluttering is so important. I spent this morning decluttering my kitchen because I had no internet. The internet had dropped. And it was such a worthwhile exercise, because while you're decluttering, your mind is on other things. You're starting to use your imagination. You're starting to follow different thought patterns, I found, and also when you finish it, there's such a feeling of accomplishment. You think, wow, I should have done this a long time ago. And we can do that in our minds as well. We can declutter our minds. I think that's quite important, because they are cluttered with all sorts of negative feelings at the moment. Finish projects. We've all started projects. We can probably find many projects around the house that we started and thought one day we'll get back to them. Now's the time. There are many books you might have put aside and we're hoping to read one day. Read those books. What I'm really trying to get at is keep your mind off the negatives and the fear. Acknowledge that there's fear there, acknowledge that there's negatives, but really try and keep your mind off them and not dwell on them, because when you dwell on them, it actually makes you feel a lot worse. Home improvements, I think everyone's been doing that as much as they can, especially now that the hardware stores are open again. Yeah. But if you've got no money for that, and a lot of us are in the situation where there is no money to do the home improvements that you're wanting to do, there's little things you can do. You can rearrange your lounge. You can change your cushions around. You can just make things look different. You can spring clean, wash everything that hasn't been washed for a while, and just have that fresh look and just feel better by doing that. And also there's ways of starting a new hobby. Everybody needs a hobby at the moment. And if you don't have any hobbies and you really don't know what to do, because there are many people out there, strangely enough, who don't have hobbies. There's stuff like Pinterest that you can join, and you might find something that really grabs you there. There are ways to decorate glass. There's recycling plastic. There's many things you can make. You can actually keep your hands busy. And by keeping your hands busy, you are going to actually help your mind in the process as well, and not dwell on that negativity. If you're thinking along the lines of business and goals or whatever, start a vision board. Sit down and think about where it is that you're wanting to go. If your business is in crisis, think where you want, ultimately how you're going to rescue your business if you can, and create a vision board. They're actually fun to make. So your vision board is where you're wanting to be, and you find pictures, you cut them out, you write slogans, you write all sorts of sayings for yourself that are going to motivate you whenever you look at that vision board and ultimately get you to that goal. And then I've got a couple of principles for success that I can end off with if you have, if you want me to.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, all right. So as we were talking about your outcomes and your end of your goal, you need to know your outcome. You really need to know what it is that you want, and then you plan your steps to get there. And that's where a life coach can actually help you if you're not there yet. Take action. So list what it is that you must do. And this is important. List what it is that you must not do. There are many things we don't want to do. List those so that you don't, and we're human. We tend to know, we tend to focus on the things we don't like about our lives and what we don't want. Don't. Acknowledge them, write them down, and then move on and acknowledge what it is that you like and what you love and what you want to do. And then important is to keep a track of your progress and have milestones. And when you reach those milestones, celebrate them. Treat yourself in some way, even if it's a chocolate or a cappuccino or something that you haven't had for a while. Treat yourself. Have sensory acuity, which is notice what is happening around you. Notice your thoughts. Notice your feelings. Then do everything in your power that you can to feel better. I'm not one of those people that says you have to be positive all the time and that you must focus on feeling positive. I think that creates a false sense of positivity, and it actually hides the underlying fear and feeling that you're actually experiencing right now. But what you can do is look at that feeling that you're experiencing, acknowledge it, and then find a way to look at it in a different light to hopefully make you feel happier. Because I think the bottom line, where I'm trying to get to, is that everyone has to try and find ways to make themselves feel happier. It's the only way we're going to get through this. Adopt a practice of flexibility. So you can't, if something's not working, acknowledge that and then find a way to change it or move on without it. Don't let it stop you. Find a way to move around it and move on. Don't let it stop you there. And then operate from a physiology and a psychology of excellence. So your thoughts create your reality. We all know that. So visualize where it is that you want to be and how you're going to get there, and then act accordingly. We all train our bodies, a lot of us do. We go and exercise in some way, but we seldom train our minds. So train your mind, recognize and acknowledge when you're feeling that negative emotion, and then train your brain into thinking about something more happy. Not necessarily positive. So happy could be, I love gardening. Let me think about gardening tomorrow. Let me plan my garden for tomorrow. And then immediately your thought pattern has changed. It's forgotten that fear or that anxiety that you're going through. And then when you start training that, you'll find that your intuition and your inspiring thoughts start to happen. And then make notes of those, because those would help you along the way. And that's really it. And that's where I want to leave it for now.
Well, that's very cool. If people want to get hold of you, how do they do that?
They can get hold of me. Probably the easiest way is to go onto my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Pacem, which is PACEM. Or else they can phone me on my cell phone, which is 081 776 0526.
All right, there we go, folks. That is Judy. She is a radio presenter here on Zone Radio. You've heard her on the shows that she does in the evenings, the Blue Zone, the Retro Zone, the SA Music and Indie Zone. But now you've heard her as a life coach. And if you feel you want to talk to her, take her up on that offer, and where she can help, she certainly will. Thanks for your time this afternoon, Jude. We've got a rush because it's got weather and we've got all sorts of things now.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome. Thank you.
All right. And that was done on a Zoom interview. So we're all learning something new, aren't we?
Exactly.
All right. Take care. Thank you. Thank you very much. This is Zone Radio. Bye. This is Zone Radio 88.5. That was Judy. She is a life coach as well as a radio presenter, and she will certainly be able to assist you if you give her a call. Go check out her Facebook page. It's Pacem. It's spelled Pacem. That's how you spell it. And pronounce it Pacem. And you can find her on Facebook.